Welcome to day 14 of Shop Talk. It's the 30-day reset for auto repair shop owners, and it's happening at one of the biggest and busiest times of year for you. Today is December 24. Merry Christmas Eve. I trust that if you have not yet finished at your auto repair shop by the time you see this video, that it won't be too long and you'll be closing up for Christmas Day, Boxing Day, as we call it here in Australia, and hopefully at least through to the new year. And I know if you're already a Workshop Whisperer client, you are probably going to be enjoying the first week of January, if not into the second, as a shutdown period that you and your team get to enjoy. But we're cracking on here now. There is no excuse left for not having time to work on your business. That's why we've been here at the busiest time of the year. And today I'm going to talk to you about your labour rate, but not as we did at the start of this 14 days. We're going to be discussing why you can't just have one labour rate. Now, it's something that if you're newer in business or you've been at this a while and you're experiencing cash flow challenges, it's something that puts fear into you. Having a labour rate that is even higher than the one you have right now, well, yes, it's exactly what you need in order not to lose gross profit dollars per hour. Now, let me explain this. So we have your advertised rate. That's rate number one. That's the one that when somebody who's in the price shopping market is usually after when they ask you, how much do you charge per hour? Okay, that's the one that might be $135 an hour plus GST if you're in Australia. And that's the one that you would apply usually to servicing, for instance. But there are more complex things that go on in your auto repair shop that need to be taken into account. And there are years more experience required for some of the things that your labour is applied to that we also need to take into account. Now, the most obvious one is diagnostic. Okay, so whenever you are diagnosing an issue and it's taking more than a few minutes, you need to switch over to your diagnostic labour rate. And the reason for this is because while you're diagnosing, you're only able to apply your labour rate charge. You are not able to make gross profit on parts. Eventually, on that job, you'll be able to apply parts margin when you sell parts for that job. But while you're in the diagnosing phase, however long that takes, you must apply a special diagnostic rate. If you don't, one of the key KPI benchmarks that we help our clients work towards at the Workshop Whisperer is gross profit dollars per hour. And that metric will fall if you don't apply an additional margin to the labour rate while you're in your diagnosing time. Now, as you know, diagnosing could take anywhere from 5 minutes to job not being able to be diagnosed in rare cases, hours and hours and hours and hours. And because you probably don't set up your diagnosing time correctly with the customer, those hours are the ones you are most likely to wipe off any job. So it's as much about having the right conversation with the customer to let them know that you are in diagnosing time, and it is about applying a margin to the labour rate you already use, so your advertised rate, in order to make up for the lost gross profit dollars. So how much should that margin be? It should be between 25 and 50% more than your advertised rate. That will account for the fact that, say, it's 3 hours of diagnosing. It will account for the fact that during that 3 hours, you cannot sell a part because you are simply trying to figure out what's wrong. For the 3 hours after that, you apply your repair rate, and that could be different again to your advertised rate, but let's just go slowly here and assume we have two rates, advertised, and diagnostic. When you're actually into the job and you're doing the fix, then you switch over to that labour rate and you're able to supply parts and attract the margin that's relevant to those parts. And then we have both components that we need for our gross profit figure and our gross profit dollars per hour. Now, to set your customer up for the correct conversation, wherever you receive a vehicle that requires an initial diagnosis period, you let the customer know that diagnosing attracts 2 hours of labour and it'll be whatever your rate is. At the end of that 2 hours, I'll update you. And if we need more time, I'll let you know and I'll get your permission to proceed. If we already have our fix, I'll let you know what the estimate is to move forward on the job and we'll go from there. Does that sound okay with you? The customer will say yes. Rarely the customer will say no, but let's assume that they've said yes. It is your job now, so that you can avoid writing off any hours because you didn't get the customer's okay. It is your job. Once you've got the okay, if it's for more diagnosing time, then you let them know. I'll get in touch with you again after we've done the next 2 hours. Hopefully we'll find the fix in that time. If not, I'll come back to you to get further permission. If you just keep checking in and letting the customer know where you're up to, the customer is more than happy to continue. It's where you take the car in, you do the diagnosing, you come back to them and you say it needs this, this and this, and it'll take this amount of time, and then you go away and you do the whole job, but it took more than that and it was more expensive, and then you come back and you say, here's the bill. The customer now has bill shock and you've got an unhappy customer that you now have to deal with. Your first response is going to be give them a discount, wipe the time off, when all you had to do and all you had to train your service advisor and technicians to do was stay in touch with the customer at the points that you said you would. No one will question your higher diagnosing rate. Now, to give you the confidence to put that 25 to 50% margin on in the first place, if the customer knew how to diagnose their own repair, they wouldn't be bringing it to you. Remember the years of experience that you have to know how to find the problem. That's what the customer is paying for. Then when you move into the actual fix, the repair part, your customer is paying for your expertise again. And if you estimate that the fix is going to take 5 hours, but it actually takes 3, again, the customer is paying for your experience and knowledge of how to fix that thing, not how fast you can fix it. Remember that. Don't knock time off because you possess the skill and experience inside your workshop, likely inside of you, to get that job done faster than you estimated and with the precision that means that vehicle won't be coming back until it's time for a service. So let's remember, we have an advertised rate, but then we need to have at least one extra rate. I'd love you to have 4, but that's a conversation for another day. You've got to have a diagnostic rate because while you're diagnosing, you can't sell parts. You can sell parts later in the job, but just in this first diagnosing period, you must put a margin on your advertised rate of between 25 and 50% so that your gross profit dollars per hour stays where it needs to be. Stay in good communication with your customer. Set them up at the start when the vehicle first comes in. Let them know you will apply X amount of time for diagnosing, which will cost X amount. At the end of that, we'll come back to you. We'll let you know where we're up to. If we need more time, I'll let you know that and we'll get your go ahead before we move forward. And then stay in regular contact with the customer through your service advisor or yourself if you're the service advisor. And then we get to the end of the job without having to write off any hours and with a happy, satisfied customer. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and please like this video so it goes far and wide. We'll be back with you tomorrow on Christmas Day. Jingle all the way.